Right here we have the packaging. On its side we have some features that we're going to tackle in depth later. And then at the back we have some contact information and more details like this keyboard having Cherry MX switches and doubleshot keycaps. So let's see what comes in the package. Inside the box we have a very substantial quick start guide in different languages, and then we have a nice plastic cover right here that you can use to protect the keyboard from dust when not in use. And the keyboard itself is of course covered with a sleeve. Inside the box we also have a USB Type-A to Type-C cable and another USB Type-C to Type-C cable, which is very nice. We also have a wire keycap puller, a Durgod sticker, and a Durgod Velcro strap. And that's what you get from a premium keyboard from Durgod, the Durgod K320 mechanical keyboard courtesy of Banggood.com. I'm Marvin from shopsadapage.com. Let's get into it. Alright guys, let's take a closer look at the Durgod K320 mechanical keyboard. At first look and feel, it is really solid with a weight of around 900 grams, which is one of the heaviest board that I've tried so far. The construction for the most part is made of plastic, but it is super robust and doesn't flex at all. This is the Corona edition with the light and dark gray colorway that I personally like. It gives that neutral premium look on it, and the keycaps itself looks pretty good. Not to mention they are made of PBT plastic. The finish on the housing has a nice shiny texture on it, which adds to the overall great look. Now flipping it on its side, we can see that the profile of the housing is relatively slim with built-in angle design for the usual ergonomic form factor. The keycaps profile is cherry profile, which is shorter than the usual OEM profile, and as you can see, this keyboard has a semi-high profile case, which means you can see a little bit of the key switches from the side view. Now looking at the back, we have the USB Type-C port at the center with a view of the cable routing channels. At the bottom, we have a very nice edgy looking design right here. We also have some channels here to route the cable, which is a very appreciated feature, and of course the USB Type-C port at the center. We also have 5 rubber feet, 4 adjustable stands, 2 on each side with other 2 being smaller for more height adjustment options, all of which has a rubber tip as well. And lastly, we have the usual technical information at the center. The build quality, like I said earlier, is really good throughout the entire keyboard. Before I forget, we also have a subtle Durgod branding here at the front side. And that's about it for the design, instruction, and parts overview. In terms of the layout, this one is 10 keyless keyboard, which means we don't have the numpad, but we have arrow keys right here as well as the complete nav cluster. The keycaps colorway perfectly matches the entire keyboard as you can see here. The modifiers are colored dark gray while the alphanumeric keys are colored light gray. So out of the box, you already have a pretty decent looking keycaps, and since this is PBT already, there's pretty much no need to replace this. The font without illumination is a little bit hard to read as you can see, but they are clean and not the gamery looking font. Above the arrow keys, we have the LED indicator for caps lock, scroll lock, Windows key lock, and onboard memory. The keycaps also have side printing for the secondary functions of some keys. Like I said earlier, this keyboard has cable channels with the Type-C port at the center. The included cable also has a protrusion on each side to help guide and secure it on the port. This kind of additional features is a breath of fresh air that you won't usually see on budget keyboards. Moving on, let's check out the second layer of this keyboard. First, we have the media controls up top that you can toggle by pressing Fn plus F1 to F7. Then we have the Fn plus F12 to toggle memory mode. Later, I will show you how to use that with the Durgod Zeus engine software. And then of course, we have the Fn plus Windows key to prevent start menu from popping. The good thing about this keyboard is that it has LED indicators right here that you don't typically see on TKL keyboards and mostly only available on full-sized keyboards. Now, let's check out the different lighting effects. This particular version that I have here, which is the Corona, is non-RGB and it only has white LED. If you want, you can choose the Durgod K320 Nebula if you want RGB illumination. As you can see, the backlit on this keyboard is really bright. We'll take a closer look on that later on why it is brighter than most keyboards. But for now, let's check out the different lighting effects. This keyboard has 11 built-in lighting modes that you can toggle by pressing Fn plus print screen. As usual, let's breeze through them here. turn on the lights, you just have to press Fn plus insert, and then to turn it off, press Fn plus delete. You can also change the direction of the animation by pressing Fn plus page up or Fn plus page down. To increase and decrease the brightness, you can press Fn plus up or down arrow keys. And lastly, to change the speed of the animation, you can press Fn plus left or right arrow keys. And that's it for the lighting effects on the Durgod K320 Corona Edition. And as per my research, Corona actually means an aura of plasma that surrounds the sun and other stars, which is perfectly depicted with this keyboard's colorway and white LED illumination. Now as promised, let's take a closer look on the LEDs on this keyboard. As you can see, the reason why the illumination is so bright is that the LEDs are mounted on top of the switches and not surface mounted to the board, which we usually see on budget keyboards. This is good for the quality of the light but a bit hassle when it comes to changing the switch, as you've got an additional 2 pins to desolder. Nevertheless, it is definitely better than SMD LEDs when it comes to brightness. Okay, so let's discuss the switches. This particular keyboard I have here has silent red switches, but you can get the Durgod with blue, brown, and the regular red switch. Looking closer and as seen on the box, this has Cherry MX silent reds. Cherry MX silent reds have the same actuation force of 45 grams as the regular Cherry MX reds, but with reduced travel. But the main difference obviously is the sound signature. The Cherry MX silent reds have additional rubbery material on the stem to dampen the bottom out and top out noise of the switch caused by plastic to plastic contact. Now while the sound dampening works, it also introduced one downside, and that is the softer feel or mushy feeling of the switches. You won't get the usual clacking sound, so bear that in mind if you so desire to choose the silent switch. But I would say that this is much better than the silent Gateron Brown that I recently experienced with the Xbox ergonomic keyboard. This one is very smooth, albeit quite mushy. Now when it comes to the keycaps, as I said earlier, this keyboard uses cherry profile, which is smaller than the usual OEM profile. And this will be subject for personal preference when it comes to the typing experience. Personally, I don't see any huge difference when it comes to comfort between these two profiles. The keycaps on the Durgod K320 is doubleshot PBT, which means it has a separate material for the legends and that it will not fade away. And this being PBT, it will not inhibit shine over time like an ABS keycap. The thickness is only 0.6mm but 1.1mm overall if you include the doubleshot material. Alright guys, you know what time it is. Let's do a quick typing test so that you can have an idea how the Cherry MX silent red sounds. And here's a dedicated comparison between Cherry MX Silent Red and the regular Cherry MX Red. Now when it comes to the stabilizers, it is one of the better stubs that I've tried recently, and rightfully so given its premium price tag. There's not much rattle to it even with the modifiers. Just for good measure, here's a size comparison for you guys. So this is a 60% keyboard, and then this is a full-sized keyboard. These are the 3 most common sizes with the TKL as the middle ground. Alright guys, let's move on to the performance of this keyboard. The Durgod K320, as with most keyboards, features NKRO or N-key rollover, a feature that allows you to press multiple keys at the same time without conflicts. And as per my testing, I wasn't surprised that it worked flawlessly. As you can see, I can press as many keys as I can and they are all registering. I also didn't encounter any input delay as expected for a wired keyboard. Now, when it comes to the typing experience, as usual, it will be based on personal experience depending on the switch. But to give you an objective idea, the Cherry MX Silent Reds is indeed quiet but in return is a little bit mushy. And if you're looking for that clack or click sound for a mechanical keyboard, then this might not be a good option for you. But if you're one of those people that wants a very quiet keyboard with reliable switches for work environment, then this is a very good option. It is also worth noting that a red switch is quite light at 45 grams, so it is ideal for fast and accurate typists, but not so much for those who are not very good with typing like myself, as you might end up making a lot of mistakes. Then again, of course, your mileage may vary. Now when it comes to gaming, as with any linear switch, the Cherry MX Silent Reds is very ideal. Although like I said, it's a little bit light to actuate, so bear that in mind again. I think this is also good for streamers so that the keyboard sound will not get in the way of the gameplay and viewer interactions. And for my personal experience while testing this keyboard, I didn't find any issue with it, and I feel like it even helps me with faster movements for FPS games like CSGO. The experience will vary of course with other games that require more accurate key presses. But the bottom line is, you really need to try it for yourself. I mean, my reviews are just a guide and you have to take everything with a grain of salt, especially on the factors that are subject for personal preference. Alright guys, as usual, before we end this review, let's check out the software. So right here we have the Durgod Zeus engine software. This is the beta 0.99.0.8 version. As you can see, the software looks professional and polished, which I really appreciate. On the front page, we have the different products from Durgod, and this software will actually auto-detect your device. So as you can see, these three devices right here are blacked out, while the Taurus K320 Corona is highlighted. You can access your device by clicking on the thumbnail or by going to the devices tab, like the keyboard and mouse if you also have one. We also have the macro tab here, wherein you can create and record your macros that you can assign to any keys later. On the device page, we have different function options like customization, lighting, and performance. For the customization option, you can pretty much customize any key to a different function like assigning macro, which we've created earlier, and then you can also remap the key to any other key. You also have the option to remap the key to a key combination, which I always look for on the software. And then you can also change the key to a multimedia function, mouse function, text, and use it to launch any program or file that you want. You can also choose to disable the key or use it to change your profile. Now for the lighting tab, you have the option to turn it on and off here. The good thing about this is the changes you make on the software takes effect immediately on the keyboard without pressing any additional keys like apply or whatnot. You also have all the lighting effects that I've shown you earlier, and you also have the ability to change the brightness, speed, and direction of the animation. But what the software gives you as a bonus is it allows you to create your own custom lighting. You can also adjust the lighting gradient of each individual keys as you can see here. And now for the performance tab, this will take effect when the Windows lock is turned on, so you have the option to disable these key combinations if you want as well. The Durgod K320 has a built-in memory that we can use if we want to keep and use our settings without the software. So I'm just going to set up a key remapping here just to show you how it works. So I set the caps lock to F for our example. Right here we have our profile. I'll click on edit and change this to Shopsada.ph. You can actually link this profile with a program which is pretty cool and can be seen on other much more expensive brands as well. You can even use your own logo for extra customization points. Now I'm going to save my settings to the onboard memory by pressing the download profile to keyboard button. Now to demonstrate, let me just terminate the software so that we can access our settings. Right now we are on default settings, so as I press the caps lock button, nothing is happening. But once I press F10 plus F12, we're now using the onboard settings. So if I press caps lock, the letter F will be triggered. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the software. Again, it is very polished and it works quite good even on its beta version. Okay, so we've tackled a lot on this video, but to conclude, the Durgod K320 is definitely a great keyboard when it comes to build quality, design, and switch options with the popular Cherry MX switches. This keyboard is also good to go out of the box with its two-color themed doubleshot PBT keycaps. Not to mention that the Corona colorway partnered with the white LEDs is already unique on its own, and there's no need to further customize it if you ask me. When it comes to performance and overall typing and gaming experience, it did not disappoint except for the fact that the switch on this particular keyboard is a little bit mushy. And that is not without a reason. You'll get in return a very quiet switch. In the end, if you think all your boxes are checked and you have around 5,200 pesos or $100 to burn, then I can definitely recommend this keyboard. And there you have it guys, thank you for watching. Make sure to check the full article link below. Huge thanks to Banggo.com for sending this in and for their continued support on my channel. You can get this from their official store link below as well as the promo code that you can use for additional 10% off your purchase. Subscribe if you like this and see you next time. Thank you, have a great day.